You want to move that book back?
Yeah.
Oh no, if you're sitting right here, you won't be able to see it. Oh, whatever happened with that, for these dry hands? My dishpan hands. Where's that at? Bathroom?
Yeah, it should be. It's the oil. It's the coconut oil.
Is he in the kitchen or the bathroom?
No, it should be in the bathroom.
Yo, this don't have any power, dude. How's that? We'll be alright. We'll figure it out. How's everyone out there in on the internet? What time you got over there?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
It's the late night show.
Oh yes. Premium Black News coming at you midnight. Saturday morning.
No?
I see this shit down number 5 though. Like it's running out.
So probably over here then.
What's this thing? Hello. Oh, that's mouthwash.
No, so it's probably over here. It's
Which way?
right under here. No? Coconut oil. Yeah. No.
Got a lot happening down here.
Hold up. Right.
How's that power looking over there? It's powering up.
It's coming along. It's coming along.
Good to see everybody. Steve Ladner, what's good? How are you? Then is that Alligator? What? We haven't heard from Alligator in years. What's up, dude? Good morning to you too. You just came home from doing a bid? Where the hell you been? Alligator. He used to be heavy in Stars Chat back in the day. If that's the same one. What do I know? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? What we're gonna do is we're gonna do some premium black news. We're not gonna talk about Remy Ma. And it's still gonna be premium black news. Have you heard about what's going on with Remy Ma
No. What's
and
oh,
Papoose?
What? I think I saw some comment about she's trying to call him out for cheating or something.
Yeah, she's trying to call him out. You know, she's trying to say he's upset because she ain't tickling his booty hole and all that kind of stuff. You know, just
She's
typical.
talking crazy now.
Yeah, just typical. You know, mad because he got the new chick.
Oh.
She looks like they could be sisters. You know, he just got a younger, better version of her. And I think she's even engaged though to some other guys. Like it's real ghetto, real tacky.
Who's engaged?
The girl that Papoose has been alleged to be new friends with.
Oh, he have a.
Oh, that's touchscreen, that laptop?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he has a new. So the new chick he's with has is engaged?
Yeah, she's like engaged.
That's weird.
And she's supposed to be a boxer.
A box.
So that, everybody's speculating who would win in a fight. I mean, the girl's like 20 years old, so 20 years old against Remy Ma. And then I remember Gloria Velez put hands and feet on Remy Ma back in the day. So I don't know if Remy Ma is doing any of that fighting like that, I know there was a time when she couldn't control her emotions and she used a weapon to solve a problem and just created a bigger problem.
All right, so trying to figure out. This isn't working.
He's a doctor, so he's busy. It's hard to get the guy. He's like, just 2 more minutes, I'm almost done. But he's touching the screen, typing and touching screens. So, we have that. How you like the thumbnail? We just took that thumbnail. I liked it. Very few full-length shots of myself. We used a tripod. What we have to talk about is this shooting that happened in Midtown. The shooting that happened in Midtown, it's getting more and more bizarre.
Well, so what's the latest on that now?
Well, I would like to say that I am the first to say that it looked like a 3D printed gun. And according to what the police reports are saying, he decided to keep the 3D printed gun with him the whole time after the shooting. What's that about? What person does that? Wouldn't they use the fact that it's 3D printed and then just break it up and just throw it in, flush it down the toilet? Why would they keep that weapon on them? What is that, for posterity's sake? Like, who keeps the weapon on them, a disposable style weapon? Why would they keep it on them all the way from New
It doesn't
York?
make too much sense.
I don't get it. It does. It's just mind boggling. Like, who does that? Yeah. Steve Ladner says, "What do you mean by Midtown?" We're talking about the gentleman that was shot, the executive to the CEO to the insurance company, and the young man who's been accused of committing that crime is the young man that's been accused of committing that crime was arrested with the weapon that was used, and they saying it's a 3D printed weapon. So that's crazy. 3D printed weapon, which I am the only one in all of the internet to say looks 3D printed to me. That was last week I said that. Not that I need any credit or anything like that. Did you find that? Oh, I didn't even see. Thanks, man. All right. Perfect. I am gonna need. Whoa, this is a lot. Here, come on, let me shake your hand.
Okay.
Look at this. This is a lot. I ain't that ashy. What kind of coconut oil is this? Please have me a paper towel though, if you don't mind. Because this is ridiculous. This goes a long way, right? This thing? What? I gotta find out this. This is cold pressed. Yeah, my hands are super dry. You know, the weather out here in New York City, it's like in the teens right now, isn't it? The teens, or just feels like the teens?
Might feel less than that.
Oh yeah, I feel better. My hands were feeling all cracked and chapped. Now they feel amazing. Thanks, Doc.
All right.
Big Elvis the Chef,
Dr. Surgeon, the people's doctor.
the People's Doc. You heard him? Let me back it up a little bit more. Boom. All right.
It's a late night show.
Late night, Premium Black News.
All right.
And we're talking about,
You know, it can't be late until it's after midnight, so 12:01. So we're officially late night.
officially. And you know, we were talking about that a few months ago when we was having all those technical difficulties. He was like, why we just don't do the late shows, you know? Because the doc is a busy guy, you know? He's like saving people's lives, he's freezing foreheads and puckering up lips and all that kind of stuff, you know? He's doing all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool that, you know, last time we took like a nap before I came though. He's like took a nice little N-word nap. And today I wanted to sneak in a little nap myself, but I didn't get a chance to.
It didn't work out.
Didn't work out, man. I was busy being a parent.
Parenting.
I was parenting, man. I was parenting. All right. So what we were going to discuss was this guy, this young man. You know, we're not even going to say his name, but you guys know the guy who showed up with this silencer-looking, a 3D printed weapon, and he unalived someone out on the streets. Then he flees on a motorized bicycle, and somehow makes his way to PA. Now he's in. Was he in? What part of Pennsylvania was he in? He was
I'm not sure what part he was in, but
I think he was in the part with all those bridges. What's that part with all the bridges in Pennsylvania? It's beautiful. They have like 30 damn bridges right there. It looks like can't remember at the moment. But he wound up getting. They searched his. Well, here's what happened. First, they said it was a girl that worked there, spotted him. But now they're saying that it was a person who was like a patron of McDonald's that spotted him and then told one of the workers to call the cops, which everyone has a cell phone. Why would you tell a worker at McDonald's to call the cops? Won't you call the cops yourself?
No, the story don't make a lot of sense at all. And the more we get into it, the more bizarre it gets. It doesn't add up a lot. I think you did mention that in the very beginning it was a 3D. Looked like a 3D weapon, so it turned out to be that.
Yeah, the way it just after each shot he had to do something. He had to manipulate it, which they were saying it looked like it was. He was such an amateur, and all these experts were talking. Look at me, I'm not even an expert. I haven't shot a weapon in 20 years, allegedly. You know, maybe 3 years, but you know, who's counting? You know, he had it coming. I tell you, he had it coming. No. So me, the novice, was able to see through that, and it was only what 340 interlace. It was horrible. The capturing of this video, it was trash. It was like, who the hell leaves video? Who has video in such poor quality nowadays?
When you see this stuff goes on, and then forget the big story. It's all the side stuff that needs to add up to make it make sense. And most of the time, those things just don't add up. You know, I think we were saying the other time that this kid is supposed to be some whiz, at least
valedictorian.
Not, you know, of some prestigious high school. Family is well-to-do, supposedly, financially. Kids supposedly seem to have a whole lot of things going for him. And you mean to tell me this person who's being classified as a master criminal, assassin, so to speak, he's going to leave from doing a hit job in New York City, Manhattan, goes all the way across to Pennsylvania,
Pittsburgh. Yeah, well, the bridges. Pittsburgh.
He goes all the way over there and didn't ditch none of the stuff and carries everything, all the evidence remain on his person at a McDonald's eating lunch a couple of days later.
Several days later.
It's crazy.
And then what was he screaming? He was screaming something once that they were like did the perp walk. He was in the green, he was in the orange jumpsuit, and he was screaming something about "Don't be fooled, don't to let American people, don't be fooled, America, don't be." He was screaming something, but they just was quick to just push him inside the building.
You know, he let me tell this story. Is that like I always say that we're getting played, and that you know. There's a big play ongoing, and we're the stooges, and we the one that gets to be in the audience, and be like, oh wow, and all this extra stuff, and it's all BS. And the thing is just more of a play of what to come, as they grab our law-abiding citizens who's really not doing nothing. So now they're going to get us to be desensitized to folks saying, "I'm being framed." You know,
when you say, what do you mean, like the patsy?
Yeah. So in other words, it becomes a thing where it becomes so desensitizing that somebody say, "Hey, listen, they're setting me up." Like, yeah, they setting you, and we're watching this happen real time with a lot of quote unquote moguls and folks they threw in the limelight to play a role, and now they're tearing them down, and a lot of people would say. Whether or not they're guilty of it, the folks that's pushing this ahead already knew what they've been guilty of. And them being in the position that they're in is not because they're guilty or not, it's because they felt out of favor in the group that they were with. And now that is being used against them. So, and I think a lot of people understand that. And now it's getting to the point where, we have this kid where nothing really makes sense, and he's saying this, and if everything still plays out and they bring him down and drag him down, and everybody, well, none of that really made sense. And we have other situations where folks have served time and have other issues where everything around it just didn't make sense. And
it still didn't stop them from going to prison.
Exactly.
And it still didn't stop the American people from just having to pay bills, pay rent. They can't even put any time. And then with the censorship on these platforms, you can't even say certain names. You can't even really try to do your own detective work in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I think X might be the last platform. Maybe BitChute. BitChute is supposed to be pretty good for that. I don't watch BitChute though, so there's that. Telegram, I heard is huge, but are any of the people on Telegram being respected?
No. I like I said, when something gets too big, I really have to look at that with some skepticism. For a minute, I have to say I was kind of like pumped about Elon and the whole presidency and the whole movement and stuff like that. But then it got to a point where it looks like more of the same, but it's a little bit too quick to call. Have to really watch and how things shape out. But what I do know is that, if we have a power structure set in place, and I had the run of the board, I don't give that up. And, and if I had such a strong hold on the board 200, 300, 400 years ago, are we saying it's weaker now?
Tell me what you mean.
What I mean is that, for a very long time, we know the hand that moved the pieces have been moving both sides of the board.
Right.
So we think that they've become less effective in doing that. So
Did they die out?
do we think so? And the thing is, when we
Can
have
they die?
right, so then we have these folks that's coming in. At some point we had a Morgan Stanley, we had a Rockefeller. Those names ain't gonna last forever. They're gonna have new names to come in for them. Then we have people like that created Microsoft, who's quickly into a whole other areas that have nothing to do with his area expertise. Then we have these other figures that's coming up, seemingly almost out of the blue, and then they're becoming really strong major figures, hitting new milestones. Maybe we might live to see the first announced trillionaire. But don't be under any illusion that they already have people who are trillionaires. You just don't know who their names are, and they don't want you to know. So all these folks that we see, that's in all the folks that we can actually lay eyes on, they're not moving the pieces.
So you're saying they're outside the curtain, but there's someone behind the curtain.
Yes, they're closer to the hand that's moving the pieces, but
Let me ask you this: you're a medical doctor, okay? You're also a plastic surgeon. You're also, you save lives. You work the ER. You did all this kind of stuff. How does this affect you in a way where you're still passionate about us not being in the dark and seeing what's really out there? How does a person would think that a person like you in your position would maybe not care as much?
And this is the issue, and I think a lot of people kind of suffer from that, because it's easy for us to carve out a little space for ourselves and live what we quote unquote call a glorious life. But what is that really? So let's talk about a doctor that is who's doing well. A doctor who's doing well, we can say is maybe make $500K a year, okay? And say you have a career that's about 30 years long. So over a well-respected, hardworking physician, gone up to, nearly the top of his field, making about $500K a year, over his lifetime, he would have amassed a wealth of $15 million for a lifetime of work.
And you got an 18-year-old draft pick.
Right.
Getting 64.
So the thing about it is, if we're looking at those metrics, we have to understand something is wrong with, with the perception that we see in the life that we're given and how they're trying to, allow us to live. So it has more to do about being connected to the people.
So that's what you're saying. You're saying you're still a person.
Right.
You're not this magical being who's so successful that he's oblivious to what's going on around in the world and don't care, because a person who's in your field, who's going to be able to make that 15 mil, this is without investments. I'm sure when you include investments, it could be up to 25 to 30 mil. But that still doesn't take away the reality that you're still that human being. You're still, you're like you're a person still.
Regular Joe.
So the big misconceptions that these doctors are living in some sort of la-la land where they're not, or people who make a certain amount of money is living in a place where this thing just doesn't affect them is a farce. So you are affected by the idea that some guy does this brilliant assassination and then ends up acting like a nigger spick and poor white trash in the streets when he gets caught with a bag full of all the evidence.
Right.
that bothers you or gives you pause?
Definitely give me pause. And the thing is, we have enough evidence over years of how these of what we've seen. We've seen this over and over again. We've seen this thing kind of like play out. You know, we've seen it play out, and I don't think anybody's kind of like really surprised. It's just really what do we even care to do about it? You know,
What should we do about it? Should we keep
Should we
our
do
head
anything?
down? Should we keep our head down and just worry about, you have children, you have, people that love and care about you. Should that be your priority, or is it time to wake people up?
well, you know what? I think it's definitely time to wake people up. But in waking people up, so let's see. Right now, there's at least 6 of us, who have our energies, centered around a idea I'm speaking to about now. And what I mean that, we have to wake each other up. But when I say each other, it's just really your community, your family, the folks around you. That's all that really matters. Because the world doesn't really go outside of that. If that group is secure and you guys have the understanding that you need to have within each other, that's all that really matters. I think we're called to be too mindful and too visual of the outside world. That's really not going to play a big role in our lives, right? Not right this second. And even if it did, you need to have inside the house fixed first before you can even think about tackling outside the house. So
So you do have to take care of you and yours.
yeah,
Waking up you and yours is the way. You can't.
we gotta wake up home first, and then and that could be a task on itself. Because the propaganda is strong and it's addicting. You gotta get past materialism. You gotta get past all the charades. You gotta get past all the entertainment.
All the teams, all the reds, all the whites, all the blues,
Right.
all the distractions, all the bills. Look at the bill. I think it's the bills. Too many people, and I'm not talking about the Buffalo Bills. I'm talking about the bills that we have to pay, where we can't just take a moment and ask the right questions. Why would a person carry so much evidence on their person? Why would a person do that? It makes no sense.
That don't make no sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
A lot of things don't make sense. There's a lot of crap going on around. You heard about the stuff going on in Jersey?
No, tell me.
About anybody in the chat heard about it? About the drones?
Oh, right, the drones that are flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a drone over my house the other day, I was told by my neighbor.
Yeah.
My neighbor said, yeah, there was a drone over your house the size of a car.
Really?
And I said, how long was it there? They said it was there for 10 minutes.
The size of a car?
The size of a car. He said the size of a small car, like a smart car. He said there was 2 of them.
Just a big drone.
Yeah, he said it was the size of a smart car, and it was right over my house. I said, how long was
10
it over
minutes?
my house? He said it was like over your house for like 10 minutes.
So-
And I was like, what? And I said, why you didn't call me? He said when I got ready to call you, it looked like they were gonna go away, and then he said they just stood there. I was like, okay.
So I've heard.
But when I say over my house, I don't know if it was directly over my house. Let's say, it wasn't
100, 200 yards.
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Maybe it was up and a little bit over to the, towards the sun or something like that. But he said, look, I looked right over your house. It was right there. He said it was 2 of them. One was further than the other one, and the other one was the size of like a smart car. He said.
No, and so I think.
So
I've
you
heard-
saying Jersey has got an onslaught of
Yeah,
drones?
no, it's a lot. And they've been talking about it. And supposedly one of them crashed, and the FBI came through, and then and then they came back and said there was nothing.
So it had to be a drone then.
Anyway, it's just bizarre. And I think some same accounts talk about something similar, like about an airport in LaGuardia
Drones.
drones. So
You know, I have a
it's
client.
weird.
I have a client. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but maybe I need to look for this client. There's a client of mine that I had, and he was into. He had put. He was petitioned. He petitioned the New York Police Department to hire him, and I think his brother, and they had drones that were huge, like I don't know, maybe 4 feet drones, 4 feet by 4 feet, and it was enough to fit in the back of a Suburban. So when you read, and it was all carbon fiber. And I remember holding it, lifting it up, like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And him and his brother were doing were trying to save money on helicopter. You know, the fuel. They were trying. They had a whole thing where they had like a presentation to the NYPD where they were telling the NYPD, listen, we have drones that can stay in the air for 20 minutes. That was the big thing because you know the batteries die on these drones after a few minutes.
Right.
So they had a 20-minute battery lifetime on their drone, and they were trying to say and show them how they can save money on the helicopter gas and how they can be up in the air within minutes, no matter where they are. They could position the drones throughout the city, be able to lift up the drones and do everything from chasing down a perp or traffic and things like that. So this was like, I haven't seen this guy in like 4 or 5 years. But I need to give him a text. Say, hey, what's up, man? I thought about you when I saw the news. You know, we talked about the Jersey thing. See what he says, because I know I have his number on file somewhere.
One thing that was interesting about that, there was one particular person who had a drone, and they sent that drone up, you know, to go investigate, you know, like recon to see what these things were, you know, and
So they sent the drone after the drone.
so this person, regular citizen, sent his drone up to get a closer look at these bigger sized drones or these orbs or whatever. And what he reported was that immediately he had a full battery pack. Immediately the battery was drained to nothing and his drone crashed. You know, so whatever it was able to suck the energy out of it, and then it went crashing down. So this is what we're dealing with. And this is the problem. The problem is that we have stuff like this going on, and yet, you know, somehow the folks that we've allowed to be in certain position can get to tell you, don't worry about it.
Nothing to see here.
And then you decide to say, okay, and you go and get in your bed, go to sleep, and wake up and go to work the next day. You know, I find that highly disturbing. But, you know, when you live in a real big society and you don't focus on your family and you don't have adequate sized communities, this is the type of stuff that happens. Sometimes, you know, you get too, in other words, sometimes one of the things that I believe that the forefathers left out, if they were actually serious about, you know, really putting something together that can maintain, you have to have a limit size. You can't have a nation that grows, you know, beyond a certain limit. And when I say, and I tell you the truth, I really don't think that, you know, you can really govern yourselves outside groups of like 300. 300 to, you know, to a couple of thousand, to really have, you know, a say so that each individual member of that community have a say, and what you think and believe actually counts. You know,
Once you get past that 600 mark, you start to get washed
you get
away.
washed. And then some.
That's such a great, interesting point that you just made. It instantly reminded me of when I went across the country and my RV that I was traveling in, the hitch broke in a small town called Arnold, Nebraska. And while in Arnold, Nebraska, one of the, I broke down right next to a lumber yard. And the lumber yard was like, they were looking for a welder but there was only two welders in the town. So they went to one welder and he came by, helped us out. But the whole town got together and got my trailer off the road, put it into a trailer like vacation spot that they had for the town in Arnold, and everyone had like a bit of a say. And there was only 665 people in that town, something to that effect. And it was very community based. It seems like, and like people were coming by, dropping off like vegetables and pies, and checking on us and all that kind of stuff. And it was like a real sense of community for the first time I ever experienced. And it was in Arnold, Nebraska, and that was in 2017. That's when we went there to see the eclipse. I was driving across America to get the best seats for the eclipse.
I'll say it a different way. You know, some times ago, it came to a point where a man would have his family and he would grow his family, and then he would have a son, and the son would grow and he'd become a young man, and it'd get to a point where that son would start to have viewpoints that may be slightly different from the father, but that slight difference was enough to say it's time for them to part ways and for him to kind of like, create his own life and his own family. So when we talk about our country, the idea is that if we get to a point where there could be so many divisive thoughts, where it really splits down the middle, if for real it does, where one group really believe one thing and another group believe another thing, that means your group have grown beyond the comforts of itself. If you can really be split down the middle, because at that point, neither one side should suffer anything, and the recognition of live and let live, comes into play, so we have the issue, the thoughts of the United States and stuff, and one of the premise of it is to make sure everybody stays within the union, so a couple of years ago, Texas was talking about it wanted to separate because it was upset with what was going on at the border, and they wanted to take some other matters into their hands. And to a certain extent, each of the states are independent, but there is this thought, well, if one really wanted to separate itself, the others would band together to try to keep it into the union, so what does that mean? Are we saying if a group say they don't believe, what this thing stands for, do we force them?
Well, it's interesting that you say that too, because we have Texas who was threatening to do their own stock exchange. You know about this? This is recent.
No.
Yeah, this is very recent. This is 2024 because they just passed a whole bunch of laws that go into effect very, very soon that say that you have to have a minority and a trans person as part of your board of directors. So people in Texas was like, we can just start our own stock exchange and separate from the United States of America if it comes to them forcing us to have minorities and women and trans people as part of these board of directors in these big companies. Because you look at Texas, there's like I think 20% of the gasoline gets processed in Texas. It's like on top of the ground. It's not even something you like dig for in the ocean. You know how BP has all those oil wells in the water and all that kind of stuff in the middle of the. Nah, they got that stuff just growing out the ground, man, in Texas. Texas is so. Matter of fact, Steve Ladner is he's over there in that area, I believe. And can you turn that phone on? Because I want to go to the YouTube so we can look at. Can you put that onto the YouTube channel so we can read? That's way too far for me to read. Yeah, we're like 5 feet away, 4 feet away. And I know that there was definitely talks about that because you forcing these states to abide by these really weird, sick rules on employment and who they should hire and things like that, you know? All right, thanks. So go ahead, continue.
No, as a matter of fact, I think Riddler just kind of like said that Texas actually can actually is actually one of the few states that could actually break away and kind of like still survive. And and I guess pretty much any place can actually do it if they have the right right partners to bring in things that they need. And this is where we have to understand if we're being weakened, as a group, as an area or a section, because if you don't produce nothing, you have nothing. You have nothing to offer anybody else for exchange. So you have to have some goods or services that other people would want from you that you could give them in order to acquire the things that you need that you don't have, on your own land. So when we deal with things where you being neutered to the point where you can't provide for yourself, you can't, feed yourself, you can't grow your own food, or it's being made difficult for you to, grow your own food. And I think most folks just kind of like throw that by the sides. The folks that really wants to do that, they do it. Because at the end of the day, could you imagine, a bureaucrat tell you that, well, you can't grow, you can't feed yourself. And this is the type of thing that we get sucked into, to the point where it's several generations later and people actually grow up thinking it's wrong if they're going to grow their own food, not realizing how deficient you are in this game of life, if you can't even do the basics to sustain yourself. The very act of living, was directly tied to your ability of doing those very basic necessities of living out your life, gathering your food and all those type of things. And that was kind of like part of it. You being conditioned to put all that off in exchange for what? To sit down someplace and don't do nothing. And then you get to wonder what life is supposed to be about.
Well, Steve Ladner is in the chat heavy. Norton said that he was in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So Altoona, that's where the guy was, not in Pittsburgh like I thought. Mm-hmm. And then you have somebody named Bonkers who says something about the pew pew. Norton agrees. They says it was faked. Look, they said Tito Nieves and Ocho Cinco. That's funny. All right, and they said it's 26 degrees. It feels like 14 though.
I gotta get my sunglasses for that.
Yeah. What do you mean Midtown? Oh no, that's earlier. That was Steve Ladner. Steve Ladner says, "Have y'all encountered people that don't listen to nonsense?" Yeah, very few though. Most people,
they're addicted to nonsense.
They're addicted to it, exactly. Bonker says, "Did you hear the person who called it in can't get the reward because they called 911 instead of Crime Stoppers?"
Get out of here.
What? Steve Ladner, a few weeks ago, a Mexican national was arrested and released without charges after getting caught smuggling humans across Texas. I believe that. Oh, look, Mary Jane. I haven't seen Mary Jane in a while. Hey, Mary Jane. Mr. Elvis, forget to switch from chat name Bonkers back to Mary Jane so all Bonkers comments are mine. Hey, Mary Jane. Yeah, Mary Jane got them troll accounts, I see. And then we have Madison Rosenberg. Madison Rosenberg, you're supposed to be asleep, girl. Stop this. Get off my chat. You're not supposed to get too young. That's my daughter. She's like 12. Go to bed. Let me see. T. Riddler. Hey, T. Riddler. T. Riddler, I gave him a wrench. He's a mod. Texas is moving forward with its own stock exchange. It will be in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I'm telling you,
Oh,
they're gonna do
okay.
their own stock exchange. They don't need. They're like, we're not complying to all this craziness. Okay, Steve Ladner, T. Riddler. Hello, everyone. Bonkers. That's Mary Jane. Boom. What's up? Just been listening. No, they have presidents for that grow. They knew it would get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. All right. So that's about everybody. Steve Ladner, Mary Jane, aka Bonkers, Newton. Let me see. Where bullheaded uncle at? Where? Oh, they're talking about Ulrich. Where's Ulrich at? Ulrich is
In Pennsylvania with the shooter.
he's over there. He's molding the minds of the youth. Oh hell yeah, yeah, you know it. She has all those accounts. Let me see the stock exchange. Look, yeah, Texas has oil, livestock, agriculture, land, tech, access to the Gulf of Mexico, right? So you can get a lot of ships in there from that Gulf of Mexico, and plenty of people. It's so true. You could fit 2 Californias in Mexico. I mean, in Texas. That was Freudian. Wasn't because Texas used to be Mexico. So there was a thing about the bullets. The bullets. You guys remember that the bullets had these 3 words on it: depose, defend, and something
Deny.
Deny.
Right.
Well, there's this woman on the phone, like 2 days ago. There's a woman here in America. She's on the phone and she's having an argument with her provider, her insurance provider. So she says at the end of the conversation, she's tired. They basically denied her claim. So she says those 3 words, and they called the cops. Do you know they came and arrested this woman and locked her up, and her bail right now is $100,000.
That's insane.
That's crazy. So as soon as her GoFundMe goes up, I'm dropping a yard. I'm putting a yard down for her. That's a fact. Let's get that woman out of jail. Let me see if I can find that news report. I sent it to this phone. So it would go. I'm not used to no phone of my own. Okay, how do I get to the messages? Not the comments on what we're watching. Boom, like that. Cancel. Boom. There we go. I think it's the last one I sent. I sent a couple of messages. Might have to tap that water over there. You got that water over there, right? All right, let's see what this says here. Come on. Let me just tap it and see what happens. That's an affectionate woman offered after wax to deny her service. Oh no, not that one. Maybe I didn't send it. Doesn't look like it showed up. Okay, here it is. It's here.
With her head in her hands, Brianna Boston learned she would be held in jail on $100,000 bond.
Well, this story is absolutely insane. A 42-year-old mother of 3 is behind bars on $100,000 bail and facing up to 15 years in prison over an empty threat made to a health insurance company at the end of a call. So I'm going to get to the details of the story, including a clip from a local news
I really
report.
don't want to hear his commentary.
I don't know how that. I mean, what's the charge? I mean,
Oh, there is a cop here. Let me see if I can get to the cop. Here he goes. Let's see what this is the guy who arrested her. Look.
let's see this.
In her hands, Brianna Boston.
$1,000. So let me play for you this clip from a local news report.
the nature of the threats. We would also be asking for GPS with house arrest conditions to protect the community.
With her head in her hands, Brianna Boston learned she would be held in jail on $100,000 bond. The Polk County judge adding the bond was appropriate given the, quote, status of our country.
It's not like she's a child. She's 42 years old, so we're not dealing with a child here. She should certainly know better.
Lakeland Police Chief Sam Taylor says his department was contacted by the FBI Tuesday. Authorities say in a recorded phone call about a denied insurance claim, Boston told a Blue Cross Blue Shield employee, quote, delay, deny, depose. You people are next, end quote. The language matches the words police say were written on the shell casings found at the United Healthcare CEO's murder scene in New York City.
We will take this very seriously, and we will put you in jail if you do something like this. It is not a joke.
According to Boston's affidavit, the mother of three told police she did not own firearms and was not a danger to anyone. But she added, healthcare companies played games and deserved karma because they are evil.
Absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. I mean, you see what's going on in London.
Well, the thing is, it's like
This is like London right now.
It's
It's
a
like one world
stretch.
government. And they, this is stuff that they was talking about, and you a conspiracy theorist if you even said anything like this. This is absolutely insanity. You telling me I can't get pissed off on the phone and say three words because of the climate of the country right now? That's what we're being told by these judges, and then this pompous ass police officers sitting there. We will come. You should know better than this. You're 43 years old. Like, this is a mother of three who's needing something to help her survive through this world. And she's being denied. And she says these three words. And what happens? They arrest her.
Delay, deny, depose. You people are next. I guess it's a threat, but at the same point, at what point did that raise to a national,
To the FBI.
It's not gonna. I'll be surprised if it sticks, but at the same time, this is where I think the game comes into play. To entertain us. I say entertain, but to scare us, to make us behave in a certain type of way, condition us. In other words.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about this, though? I mean, is this crazy? Are we
This
in
is
Bizarro
training.
land?
This is training.
Are we in Bizarro land? What do you mean by training?
This is training. So, if you are thinking about saying something like that, you're not going to say it now.
Buck breaking us.
Exactly.
It's a buck breaking.
And and it's
There's censorship. I see what's going on here.
it seems clear.
It seems clear. It seems like go ahead and say this again if you want. Well, I think what needs to happen is they need to, 100, 200 people need to show up with signs and T-shirts that say these words on it,
Right.
and be there at a court case, at the court date, flooding the whole entire court system, letting them know how ridiculous this is. Now I'm looking at YouTube again.
And not for nothing. If we really think about it, is this all a misdirection? Because the man was deposed for, background, work that involved high-level officials in government. He was deposed. He sold like half of his stock, supposedly, a couple of weeks before this.
Right. Remember
So,
that?
in other
Yeah.
words, this is something else, and it becomes a very easy sidebar issue to make it.
Newton says it's $100,000 bond. So I guess 10 to 20% of that. So 10, 15, 20 grand, she's out.
Right.
That's a lot of money for a person who needs their insurance company to pay for something.
Right.
She may have a lawsuit on her hands under the First Amendment, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think,
Will she make it to court, or will she be dead?
that'd be too obvious. But you know what? I think there's all a game and charade to throw us off the scent of the dog, because he, the whole thing is stemming from what insurance companies are doing, which everybody kind of like understand. and now it's to push it off some disgruntled person who wanted to off a CEO because insurances delayed, deny, and cause people all these heartaches. So our focus is like, oh well, everybody's going to be on this delay, deny, depose tip, where his real reason for being off had nothing to do with that. So while everybody's looking over here, where he really got off, had nothing to do with it. And the more we think about it, we get our minds off of, what was really brewing,
Mary Jane says we are going back to the days of King Henry VIII.
Certainly seemed like it.
And then Steve Ladner says, for what it seems, most people in the Big Apple have never encountered people that can and will make things happen. What do you mean? Like in a violent way, or make what happen? Like they're gonna say something and then follow through? I don't know. Okay, I'm not afraid. That's Steve Ladner. Good for you, man. Neither are we. She may have a loss. Okay, yeah, I saw that already. Somebody says something about, off topic. Steve Ladner says off topic, but look up the Crown Royal swimming pool in Hama, Louisiana. Tommy is a real deal. All right, well, we're not going to do that right this moment. So we'll check that out another time. So this woman, would you donate to her GoFundMe to help get out?
No.
Tell me why.
I went because I realized
I'm gonna grab
in
some
the age of if you grab me a glass, also that'd be in the age of this current climate that we're in. Some months ago brought this up. How easy would it be for people to really catch on to the national trend of things that are going on? Say like this situation. Wouldn't it be a real convenient thing? It's very easy to set up. Couple of cameras, couple of people, couple of actors, this horrific thing happened. This person is locked up. They need a GoFundMe page. It could be all a charade.
What do you mean? You say you don't trust any of it.
And the thing is, it's like,
You're like, I'm not gonna donate. For all we know, this woman was never arrested. It's just a way to get us to stop saying these words, or just get used to the idea.
Like in other words,
of the control.
it's a double.
Do you cheer with water? No, right? Why not? What the hell?
Right.
That's some good water right there, boy.
Yeah. But the chat understand the crisis actors and all those folks.
Right.
And one of the ways that they get paid is by have a GoFundMe page created. Get a nice lick, $100 grand, $200 grand. They go off into oblivion. Nobody ever knows nothing.
Right. You can loan them some money like that, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right, let's go to another. We're gonna change topics. We're gonna go to the other topic.
I'm gonna create a GoFundMe page.
Right. You're gonna create it for me though. Yeah. You can't create it for yourself. They don't allow you to do that. You have to create the GoFundMe for yourself.
So.
Not for yourself, for someone else, for others.
I'll tell you what. We create GoFundMe page for each other. All right. Everybody in the chat. We're gonna set something up.
It's been tried. GoFundMe, when you start getting fly like that, they shut you down. And they were like, no, we're not gonna let this work. This ain't gonna go through.
Well, yeah, so that kind of tells you something, right? So who's the big hand that's watching it?
Right.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah. And what they're watching is the fact is all your information is out there. All the links are out there. So if there's some suspicious linkage, you know, they're going to either do that or they're going to come into your pocket and take what you got.
Right. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is one of the Baldwin brothers. This Billy? Is this no, it's not Billy. This is it's one of the Baldwin guys. And he's talking to Patrick Pet Better from Valuetainment.
Or Beverly.
Beverly.
Patrick Beverly?
No, Patrick Pet Better. He's the guy who owns Valuetainment. We've done a couple of shows. We've done a couple of reaction shows on him. He's the guy with the really great voice. He used to be in the
Yeah, I think I don't know about that. I'm not. Well, I'm thinking. Am I confusing him with the basketball player name?
yeah.
Patrick Beverly.
Yeah, I don't know if Patrick Beverly is, but yeah. So this is one of the Baldwin brothers saying something that I was like,
Well, who's the Baldwin brothers?
well, you know, Alec Baldwin, Billy
Okay, all right,
Baldwin.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
okay,
like four
all right.
guys.
Okay, all
Yeah, from Long Island. You know, these guys.
So only one of them is an actor, I guess.
They're all actors.
Really? Okay.
They all did good in the 90s. You was in school. You don't know nothing about this stuff. You was over there studying for 30 years. While the rest of us got to get entertained by TV. Let's see if they're... Okay, good.
Then when the girl gets in there, let's say you're even stupid enough to go in the room, and the girl goes, I'm 14. You should get up and walk out of the room. She might have been all dressed up and you thought she was 20 and you thought you were going to have a fling. Once you found that out, because that's part of the allure of it, that you want to be with an underage girl or underage boy. Once you found that out, now if you stay in the room, you've asked for trouble and you're about to get trouble because he had a camera hidden in the room and he has all kinds of videos supposedly of those events. Now, what does that look like if that came out 8 years ago and Hillary Clinton's husband was involved? What does that look like if Donald Trump was involved? What does that look like if Tim Walz was? Again, you could shape the direction of a country based on having the wrong person in one of those videos. And I believe those types of influential people are involved in those, which is why you probably will never see them. Then when the girl gets in there, let's say you're
One
even
more time.
stupid enough to go in the room, and the girl goes, I'm 14. You should get up and walk out of the room. She might have been all dressed up and you thought she was 20 and you thought you were going to have a fling. Once you found that out, because that's part of the allure of it, that you want to be with an underage girl or underage boy. Once you found that out, now if you stay in the room, you've asked for trouble and you're about to get trouble because he had a camera hidden in the room and he has all kinds of videos supposedly of those events. Now, what does that look like if that came out 8 years ago and Hillary Clinton's husband was involved? What does that look like if Donald Trump was involved? What does that look like if Tim Walz was? Again, you could shape the direction of a country based on having the wrong person in one of those videos. And I believe those types of influential people are involved in those, which is why you probably will never see them. Then when the girl gets in there, let's say you're even...
Can I tell you what this means to me? Why I was kind of moved by this?
Go ahead.
What this means to me, it makes so much sense what this man is saying. He's talking about Diddy. And he's basically talking about how these men at these parties were put in certain situations. And these situations were situations of choice. Where when the person did show up in the room and they say, hey, I'm X amount of years old, and you still go on with it and it's on videotape, that person who owns the videotape of all these different people are now people that can literally move the needle in politics, move the needle in business, move the needle in so many different ways. It makes so much sense why they're denying this man a bail. It makes so much sense why they are holding this man under a RICO Act and he's the only one listed in the RICO Act. Because basically this is all about the Mann Act, where he's you can, according to Judge Joe Brown, the Mann Act doesn't mean that you paid for sex. Just the fact that you was able to fly someone across state lines for sex, you didn't even have to pay that person. It could have been your girlfriend. That's the Mann Act. You can go to prison for it. So that's the only thing they really got him on. Everything else is just the public opinion. They want everyone to just villainize him, hate him. I watched the Jamie Foxx special on Netflix today, and he made 4 references to Diddy in a negative way. So they are going out of their way to villainize Diddy in such a way because he has so much access to actually making changes. Just like he said, just imagine if when Hillary Clinton is running for president and he's able to control or manipulate that because he has evidence of her husband acting a certain way. So Diddy has so much evidence that it's like he's basically should be charged with some sort of treason, some sort of espionage, more than what they're charging him with, because the charges is just bogus.
So are we saying that what we alleging that he did was create the scenario where these folks were in a compromising position where they decided to go along with it anyway, so their curiosities were piqued. They're in a small room, lights are dim, and then this person that was presented and they had some interest in now breaks out and says, well, I'm 15. And then it's like, what do they do there? And a lot of them will go along with it. So the fact that he arranged that, maybe had the young person come over to the place.
Maybe it wasn't even a young person. It could just be the
Whatever.
situation. It could just be, the.
It could be a grown person.
Yeah, it could be the four. It could be the four black girls, and the Filipina, and you over here, involved in something that could be used against you to create some sort of power play. And it makes sense because if you.
But the thing is, was he doing it for himself, or was he doing it on the behalf of, the government or
espionage?
No,
Was he a spy?
collecting this information, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he's a spy.
Right.
This is what we did because it's strange.
But he might use the information he has to save his own behind, basically. Is that what they're concerned? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that's what they're concerned about. They're concerned with anyone having that much power. Because it's like I always found it strange that they would keep a man with that much money, $700 million man in a jail cell. You can buy the people around you. You can buy the trust of the people around you. You can buy you're too powerful, and it's too tempting. People are so curious, and they want to they just want to meet the guy and talk with him. So to keep this person in this, and let me tell you something. I'm not trying to be funny, man, but there's nothing but black people that work in that spot in Brooklyn where he's at. That Brooklyn house of detention that he's in, the federal thing. We talking about these are regular, everyday black people that are working in that job. You telling me that this person cannot buy his way out of this situation? You telling me there can't be some sort of cool? Like, it just seems strange to leave a person with this much power in there. But it makes more sense that he's more powerful out with his hands on the proverbial buttons, and these buttons are these videos. 30 years of videos. So they try to make it salacious. Oh, there was children and there was these bottles of oil. Stop it. He's a risk to national security with all the information he has. This dude is he's a spy to some degree. He should be treated like that. But they can't do that, so they're pretending that it's all about the babies. And we have to protect them from this diddler, they're calling him, the diddler, and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. What say you on that?
No, I mean, I agree. If I think about what's going on with him, it's a couple of folds. Number one, we can't overstate the timing of everything that happened. He had this fallout. He had this suit,
Which he won.
And within 3 to 4 months, some Cassie come out of the woodworks and now want to allege the grievances that she had from 10 years ago.
Right.
That doesn't seem like it's just a coincidence, you know? And also, if you think about it, you know, that's around the same time, you know, the alleged Jamie Foxx incident occurred where it was kind of like alleged, you know, Diddy had something to do with that since then. And now I've heard about this tribute, but I would say people haven't seen him for a while, but he's back to himself.
Oh, look, somebody said Patrick Pet David. That's
Okay.
T. Rilla. Thank you for that. I said Patrick Pet better.
Okay.
David, thank you. Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so where was I at? I think I finished saying the point. But I just lost my train of thought there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. But no, I think I had finished the thought I was making.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next one. Get this thing pumping. I think I might have one more or two more. Okay, this is something that I found pretty interesting. There's this whole movement right now. Are you aware of the people that are coming after LeBron James to answer the question, what do you mean when you say there's no party like a Diddy party? Are you aware of this movement?
No, I'm not aware of it, but I can
It's
see it
a whole
happen.
movement. Like
I can see it
people,
happen.
there's this guy.
Is this the reason why he's taking time off?
I don't know.
Because he's not
taking
playing.
time
He's
off.
not playing with the Lakers right now for personal
Really?
issues. Yeah.
Look at that. There's this guy. He is Colby. What's that? Colby Covington. He
fighter.
is a UFC fighter. He goes on a press tour about some sort of fight. I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about this guy. And look what this guy says out of his mouth. This is a UFC guy. Let me lower this because, you know, they love to give commercials. Let's see. Guy, sit there. I don't think he even has a shirt on. He has like a leather blazer on, no shirt on. And this guy wants to get all political. And I just found it to be strange how, like they just pick and choose these battles that are just so unrealistic to me. Here it goes.
I'm gonna start this off, you know, since I'm the man of the hour, the man of the show. I want to ask LeBron, what does he mean by there's no party like a Diddy party? I truly want to know. And not only that, LeBron, how many Diddy parties have you actually been to? I'm really curious to know. And is that the reason you left social media? Because all the backlash you were getting for going to so many Diddy parties? It's just pathetic, man. People think this guy's a role model. He wants to defund the police, the most patriot people of America serving and protecting our country. LeBron, you're a fucking scumbag, and I hope you get locked up in the same cell with Diddy.
What's going on here? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Listen, at the end of the day, you know,
Ain't no party like a Diddy party had nothing to do with the after party of those parties. I mean, I take it as LeBron James is
trying to find something cool to say while he's talking.
He's a
But-
basketball. I mean, what? All the stuff. Magic Johnson exposed all the craziness that goes on in the NBA. He was sleeping with 12 women a day. They had lounges that were made. The Lakers made special lounges just for the girls to be in there, waiting for these guys to, before the games, after the games. They had made allowances for them to have massive freak-off parties. This is done in-house. Magic Johnson talked about all that stuff. And you acting like LeBron James is a what? Like I just see this huge push to just destroy everyone who anybody looked up to. It's like, who do they want us to look up to? Not that I'm all in any way in favor of looking up to these celebrities or these basketball players. I'm not saying that. But I mean, why is this MMA fighter coming after LeBron James? What's going on here? What say you?
No, I think it's we're not in a friendly environment, and that nobody really cares about the genuine good of somebody that's outside of their wheelhouse. You can hope for that, but you shouldn't count on that. And the bigger your platform is, more people you're going to have that wants it to fall down. Now, do I know whether or not he's completely free of everything? I don't know.
Exactly.
He's
yeah.
he's very fond of him.
But who
Is it
wasn't?
possible?
Everybody talked about Diddy parties.
Right.
Everyone.
Everybody would want to be invited and get an invite.
Exactly.
So, for what it is, it doesn't matter. But when you hear things like that, it makes me think of, some level of envy. And you know what? Everybody wants somebody to do good, just not better than them.
But is this guy's strings being pulled? Is this something
Covington?
that he's thought of on his own to come out like this?
No, it doesn't.
Or
It doesn't sound like him. I'm aware of him as a fighter, and no, that doesn't sound like that's none of those guys. That's not what they really do. So,
Crazy. I just find it to be bizarre, man. I feel like I'm in Bizarro land half the time when I look at this stuff.
bizarre world at this point.
Bizarro world, correct. Thank you. And then this is some doctor stuff I wanted to throw in there, some doctor stuff, okay? There's a woman who's taking a trip to Cabo in the morning, and she decides to hit up her local waxing salon. And while at this waxing salon, the waxer says to her, I can't take care of you because you smell horrendous. And here's a little bit of the back and forth here. And you tell me give us like a doctor's perspective if possible, and tell us what you think.
That's an issue that you have. This is beyond going to the where I have to continuously tell you that that's an issue that you have. This is beyond going to the gym.
No, I just came from the gym. I'm trying to get my wax. I have vacation. My flight leaves tonight. My flight leaves tonight and I need my wax done. And now you're telling me that you can't do my wax because of a funky issue. It's crazy because I've gone to other places. I've gone to European Wax Center and they don't have an issue. The phone is going off. This is so unprofessional.
I do apologize.
This is so unprofessional.
However, that is beyond. I'm not. I don't know what. Maybe European Wax Center is a little bit more equipped than we are. However, I don't feel comfortable. I'm actually a CNA as well, and that is not just an odor. That's actually an infection.
Excuse me?
That's an infection.
I don't have an infection.
And I don't feel comfortable touching you in that area.
I told you I just went to the gym. I just went to the gym.
Man, that's not the gym. That's not the gym, ma'am. I go to the gym. That's not the gym. That's not the gym.
You don't go to the gym.
This is a very uncomfortable conversation for me. I'm not your primary
You don't go to the gym. I can tell by your body type.
Excuse me.
haven't seen
I'm
the
not
gym.
going to accept insults from you. Because I'm not insulting you.
You haven't seen the gym.
Excuse me.
So you
Because you are embarrassed now.
So you wouldn't
You're
know
going to try to
you
put
wouldn't know,
me down.
You wouldn't know what an odor from the gym smells like if you don't go to the gym.
You're completely. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
We cannot provide a service for you. It's too late for me to book last minute anywhere else. Everybody else is booked. I got this off a group.
Ma'am, you need to go to the doctors. This has nothing to do. I don't even know why. You should not get on that flight.
This is crazy.
This is embarrassing. I hope you're not going to the man.
This place is embarrassing. You got this bum Easter grass. Look at this place.
Stop.
Look at this place.
Please.
Almost feels like it's not real. But we're going to not care about that at the moment, whether it's real or not. There are some funky bees out there. There are some funky women out there. Funky men, too. So, what say you, Doc?
Well, odor is a problem. Odor can be a sign of infection. Um, it could be, um, you know, hyperactive sweat glands from working out. That can also give off an odor. Um, but just from the conversation, it would I'm led to believe that the odor was extreme, and it probably is beyond what you would expect. And if you are getting a wax, I think most women and people in general would be self-conscious about the setting they're going to be in, and to whatever extent it would at least be tolerable, you know. So I don't know. It sounds like something that should at least be checked out, you know. And I don't see somebody who's being told that would just kind of like really accept it with no issue. I think anybody who's been told that, they would feel, if nothing else, embarrassed and have
Right.
and be on somewhat a defensive,
So that seems pretty normal, the defensiveness of it. of
right? You
course.
know,
Right.
but yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Working in the bar business, I have bumped into some smelly coochies. I remember I had a bartender, I won't name any names, and this bartender, she would, female of course, she would go into the bathroom and everyone knew not to go in there for 30 to 40 minutes.
It was like that.
It was the smell of death. It was the smell of death. And what was crazy is that this bartender would sometimes leave the door open and like wash their hands and have these conversations. And we would just be like, oh my God. It was the smell of death that reeked. And it was so bad. I used to have my porter running up behind her and like spray the bathroom down. It was so bad.
Was the conversation ever had with her?
I never had the courage to have the conversation. I never had the courage to say anything. But it was like the most horrendous thing I ever experienced. And then I also, in my personal life, I've bumped into women that, you know, were not very fresh down there. Like it was like, oh my God, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I had a couple of experience like that myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you know, I don't know how to handle anything like that. I never confronted any of them like that.
What you do? Hold your breath?
No, I actually honestly got to keep it real. I kind of like just didn't go through with it. I just kept
No?
it. No. I moved on. I'm funny style like that. You know, if it's like, whoa, then this ain't going to work. I got something happening. Let me put you in a cab. Let me you know. This ain't gonna work. Let me put you in the cab, boo boo. This ain't gonna work. You know, and are there infections that women have that they're unaware of?
You know what? Most women are pretty tuned in, especially when their odor changes or their discharge changes. So they note that readily. So it'd be abnormal for the average woman to have no idea whatsoever. You know, so it can happen, but most of the time, especially something like that, you know, she would know if it's a smell out of the ordinary. I don't think, you know, and I don't think we'll know by that conversation, because I don't think it's, you know, she certainly don't come across like the person that he was like, oh, I really smell like that. Well, let me go check that out. I think she was more on the defensive and just kind of like wanted to save face. So we don't know what that really meant. So we're about to get some visitors.
Yeah, I hear them. Our children are done playing in the lounge at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, the Doc's place provides a lot of nice, cool amenities, you know. So I'm sure they're done with the pool table and all that kind of stuff, right? They're ready for sleep time. You know, this is the part where we kind of say goodbye, man. I think we had a great show.
Yeah.
And we ended it on a smelly note, but you know, although most of the stories today was a little fishy. You know what I mean? Most of the stories today were a little bit fishy.
So you know what it all. So this last story brings it all together.
Yeah. We've come full circle, y'all. We appreciate you stopping, checking us out. With Premium Black News, we'll be doing this again in hopefully in 7 days. And I'm going to do the review on the Jamie Foxx Netflix special.
How was that?
Hated it.
Oh,
Last 10 minutes, loved it though.
okay.
That last 10 minutes, man, they were trying to. There shouldn't have been a dry eye in the whole place. It was very. It's for the believer, like, you know, he's basically talking about his experience with the stroke that he had. He mentioned Diddy 4 times, and 3 or 4 times. I didn't write it down, but it was 3 or 4 times he mentioned it in a joking way, but villainized him. You know, he was just like, you know, and then Netflix was disingenuous by promoting that he was going to discuss it. And Jamie Foxx talks about Diddy and his involvement with him being sick. No, it didn't happen like that. He basically said Diddy had nothing to do with it. You know, because when it comes to Diddy, I usually leave a party at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stay past 10. You know, it's one of those kind of things. Then he had his children come on board, and one of his daughters. They both were beautiful girls.
Yeah.
One was a little bull dykey, but that's okay. Are they calling us?
Probably. Hey, where you guys at?
They told us to come upstairs because everything's closed.
Oh, it's all right. Come on up.
All right.
You guys up here already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard you. All right.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
We heard it.
He heard us.
Yeah, like you guys were like cat burglars. No, we heard you.
You're right.
But you know, that also shows you these new construction, you know, it's like not too quiet, you know, you can hear things.
Right.
All right, so I guess it's the part where we say goodbye. What's up, y'all?
All right.
We're over here doing a little pod.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
How you guys doing? You tired?
Nah.
You guys look like you're up to something.
Some play some video games.
All right.
All right, that's what's up. All right, we're gonna say goodbye. I'm Big Elvis and Chef Rosenberg.
Doctor. Sir, people's doctor.
People's doctor. Kids want to say hi.
See, I didn't.
Yo, what's so stupid? What's random? Just what's random stuff.
This
is stuff Madison keeps doing.
Oh, that's that Riz. He was rizzing up. You guys want to say goodbye?
Cody wants to say bye.
Bye.
Say bye, Darius.
Cody, bye. No red.
All right, good night, everyone. Love you.